So I'm at this beautiful supercharger in Arlington, Virginia. And 2 straight days I tried to charge my car here and it wouldn't work. Let me just let you guys see what it looks like. It's on the 5th floor of a parking garage. Now what's frustrating about this DC area, everywhere you go, you typically gotta pay to get in the parking structure. But my issue with this particular charger is that I've moved my car 4 different places it won't charge, and I came back a second day and it still wouldn't charge. So I wound up going back to the Harbor Charge Supercharger and it went fine. So I'm here to record it this time just in case there's something faulty about my car or possibly anybody else who has a Model 3 standard. So let's get out, plug it up, and see what happens. Other than that one minor hiccup, the road trip was very, very good, very smooth. And we wanted to do a road trip because in my county, I have a whole lot of people who are backwards thinking. I guess the nicest way to put it is that they're old school and they enjoy trying to pick on me because they drive gas cars and I have a Tesla. They like throwing jokes like, well, at least we can make it to the beach and not have to worry about charging. Or I heard this one the other day. Well, what are you going to do if there's ever an EMP strike? You're not going to be able to drive. You guys can get the picture of what type of folks I'm dealing with in this county. And so having said that, we didn't have a lot of range anxiety, and I decided to take my wife on a road trip to see what the experience is like. This is the story, and it starts right now. What's up, people out there in YouTube? I am Lamont Tyson. You have reached the Life Gains channel. If you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so when I drop videos, you all get them. I do mainly movie and TV show reviews. I do a little tech too, but that's kind of more the old school part of my channel. And I am now doing Tesla because I own one and this is such fun tech. So our road trip starts from basically Burlington, North Carolina, goes to Durham, and our destination is Washington, D.C. And to get to D.C., we had to make 2 stops. And the first stop was this little town, sketchy place in South Hill, Virginia. We had to stop there in an effort to get to D.C. And ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna be behind this little restaurant called Cahill. And it's probably not the kind of place you want to be at night. So if you can avoid this one along your road trip, try to avoid it because, man, this place looks sketchy as hell. And at nighttime, if it's dark, you might not want to be back up in there by itself. However, the charging station does its job. We had no issues. It just seems a little weird in that location. And from there, we basically was able to get to Washington, D.C. I had a lot of fun while I was up there. I met a whole lot of good people at various supercharging stations. And when we got in DC, the supercharger I went to was at the Harbor, and it was a beautiful supercharging station. And the very next day I had to get up and drive my wife into town to DC for her conference. And that's where things started to get a little bad. You people in DC, man, your traffic is off the chain, unreal. That would be the thing that would prevent me from wanting to live in a city like that. However, with my car being able to self-drive, it took a little bit of that pain away. The only issue is there are a few lines that you deal with that the car doesn't recognize and you just gotta be prepared to take over. But overall, it was good. Now, the issue that I had on this road trip was this one charging station in Arlington, VA. My car would not charge there, and the other issue is that pretty much anywhere around that area, you're gonna have to pay to go in there. So here I am getting ready to go into the Arlington, Virginia supercharger, and they have like these little smaller supercharging stations for the inner city. And I had to pay to go in there, and I'm pulling in there, and once I get in there, this happens. So I'm at this beautiful supercharger in Arlington, Virginia. And 2 straight days I tried to charge my car here and it wouldn't work. Let me just let you guys see what it looks like. It's on the 5th floor of a parking garage. Now, what's frustrating about this DC area, everywhere you go, you typically got to pay to get in the parking structure. But my issue with this particular charger is that I've moved my car 4 different places it won't charge, and I came back a second day and it still wouldn't charge. So I wound up going back to the Harbor Supercharger and it went fine. So I'm here to record it this time just in case there's something faulty about my car or possibly anybody else who has a Model 3 standard. So let's get out, plug it up, and see what happens. And so I'm walking around the car, you know, just showing you guys what it looks like here, and I keep getting these messages in my car saying that the equipment is faulty, it won't work. And so I'm beginning to panic because I'm thinking something is wrong with my car. And so I do move over to 4 or 5 different stations, and then I wind up going back to the National Harbor Supercharger, and I didn't have any problems. And so the only hiccup I had was that charging station. I still to this day haven't figured out what was the issue until I went and read the reviews about the supercharging station and take a look at what people were saying about this particular station. And I met some brothers over at the Harbor who told me that a lot of people had complained about that supercharging station as well. And so other than that, the trip was fine. And the other supercharging station that we went to was in Springfield, Virginia. And that has got to be the most packed supercharging station in all of that area. Every day I went there, you had a line of cars. And then on my last day going there, I met this really cool cat right here who is all into Tesla. And before Tesla, he could care less about cars. He had a bike. And now that he's got Tesla, he's so geeked about the EV movement, he's thinking about getting a Rivian. And me and him kind of wrapped it up, what we think about Rivian's truck, how it will compare to Tesla's truck. And I really enjoyed meeting him and all the other people that I met. I'm shouting you guys out. Everybody I met on my DC trip, if you watch this video, leave me a comment so I know that I met you guys. It was a fun trip. From there, we basically loaded up, got ready to come back home. And on the way back home, we only had 2 stops. And one of the stops was right here at this gas station. And while we're charging, look at what my wife is doing to me. This is what I have to deal with when we're on a supercharging trip. Fellas, if you got a Tesla, do your wife do this?
Oh, stop. Go.
We on our way back to NC from DC, and we doing a little charging, and I can't even enjoy this Tesla because more road trips to come. And if you got kids, let me know how they enjoy some of these features, like the karaoke.
I ain't no kid.
Well, I was saying as an addendum to the grown women that try to take over, let me know how your kids be behaving in the Tesla too. So we charged up there, and the last stop was that sketchy place in South Hill, Virginia, behind Cahill again. And ladies and gentlemen, from there, we were back home. Overall, my experience for my first road trip with Tesla, it was good for me. It added maybe about 45 minutes to my overall trip. Now, mind you, I have the Standard Plus Tesla, but it didn't bother me. Now, my wife was a little irritated that if you're gonna be having to do a 4-hour drive, you gotta add 45 minutes to an hour to it. But obviously, as you can see, she had no problem when we was at the supercharging station because she took the car over. But I want you guys to leave me comments on your Tesla road trips if you've done one. How was your experience? What did you think? And how well did you enjoy it? The only thing I had to say was that one supercharging station in Virginia, to me, that was the worst charging station I've ever been to. That would be my only complaint. But because there were so many other charging stations around, it really didn't even bother me. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait for my next trip. That's gonna do it for this video. Don't forget to like my video. Please comment, subscribe. Go get yourself a life game. Leave me your comments about your supercharging Tesla trips and give me some insight as a new Tesla driver. I'm so excited. I love this movement and I would love to see everybody else go out there and get themselves a Tesla. And if you decide to get one, use the link for me in my video description. And until that next Sex is Hell video, I'll see you.